Blessed are you, Yah, creator of all things perceivable by us, the Elohim of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Elohim of our Messiah, the Elohim who chose Yisrael to be his treasure, his inheritance. We come to you now, Abba Yah, humbled and thanking you, Abba Yah, Todah Rabah Abba, for allowing us the ability, the opportunity, the honor, Abba Yah, of seeking an audience with you, Abba Yah, so that we can praise your name, Halal Yah, and we can bring our burdens to you, Abba Yah. We thank you for blessing us with health. We thank you, Abba Yah, for sustaining us, Abba Yah. We thank you for your protection and your shalom. We thank you, Abba Yah, for your Ruach HaKodesh that comforts us, that teaches us all things, that brings back our remembrance, Abba Yah, of who we are and whose we are, and why you set us apart, Abba Yah. With Abba Yah, we just ask, if it's your will, Abba Yah, please forgive our forefathers for their transgressions, for their trespasses, Abba Yah, for their turning their back to the covenant. And we just ask, Abba Yah, when we repent, and we ask, Abba Yah, for your forgiveness, that you hear our prayers, our petition, Abba Yah, and forgive us and blot it out of your memory. We thank you, Abba Yah, for putting this mishpachah together, putting this assembly together, Abba Yah, and strengthening us, Abba Yah, knitting us tighter and tighter as a family, Abba Yah. We thank you, Abba Yah, for your healing hands. We thank you, Abba Yah, for strengthening our faith, especially in these times, Abba Yah, when we can see your word executing what you sent your word out to do. And as times get tougher and tougher, Abba Yah, we just ask that you continue to strengthen us with your Ruach HaKodesh, that you continue to feed us the truth, Abba Yah, to wash us clean, Abba Yah, and shape us into vessels of your will. Please continue to put your hedge of protection around all your children, Abba Yah, that are trying to walk in all your ways throughout the four corners of the earth. Protect us, Abba Yah, from this wicked world. And Abba Yah, give us the strength, no matter what situation, Abba Yah, that we can walk faithfully and boldly, Abba Yah, in the path that you put in front of us, that you set before us, Abba Yah, regardless of any outside influence. As we go into your word tonight, Abba Yah, we just ask that you inspire your message through Moreh Samak, that your message is delivered clear, and that we receive it, Abba Yah, and put it to work in our lives. We serve you and only you, Abba Yah. And we thank you. We thank you, Abba Yah, for being our Elohim. We thank you, Abba Yah, for being our Abba. And in all things, Tobin Ra, Todah Rabah Abba, blessed are you, Yahweh. Blessed is your name, Yahweh, and blessed is he that comes in your name, Yahweh. Halal Yah, Amen wa Amen.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, amen, amen. Shabbat shalom, Mishpachah. As we do it this time, we're going to open the floor for praise reports and testimonies. If anyone has any praise they give to the Most High, we open the floor before we get started with study. All right, Ima Audrey.
Shabbat shalom. And as always, I just praise Abba and I say Torah because he has blessed us, he has protected us, he's kept us safe from hurt, harm, and danger. And we're online again this week. And there are a couple of things that I wanted to mention. And one of them is a lot of times we dwell on our situation or the condition that we're in, not realizing that there are people who have situation conditions that are worse than ours. And I don't pity myself because I'm a widow and I lost my husband, because there's so many other women who have lost their husbands, you know? And anyway, I have two friends and one lost her husband and she's considered to be legally blind. Therefore, she can't drive. So she can't go anywhere unless someone carries her or she gets Uber or what have you, you know? And I had taken her somewhere and I was just reflecting on it. It's like, you know, I just feel so sorry for her, you know. Then I have another friend who lost her husband about 7 or 8 years ago, and her husband did all the driving. And she has a vehicle that's out in the parking lot where she lives. But I think in her mind, it's like, I don't want to drive. And I think she pities herself, and she's a hypochondriac. And I mean, she's going to the doctor. There's always something going on, something hurting here, something going on there. And I was just thinking about the two of them. And another thing is, for every holiday and every special occasion that she and her husband celebrated, she goes out to his gravesite and take balloons and she take flowers and that kind of thing. And she's still grieving after 7 or 8 years. And I think it's because she hasn't really let him go. And when I look at my situation, my condition, it's like I pity them and I don't pity me, because I could very well be in the condition or the state that they're in. And then I had another situation that happened. You know, I was telling you all that I started back walking, and I'd stopped walking because it had gotten too hot last summer. And then I didn't start back because I used the excuse that it was too cold during winter. So I just gave up walking. But I prayed and I asked Abba to motivate me so that I would walk again, because my doctor was telling me whenever I walk and I exercise, it helps my blood pressure and it also helps my joints and what have you. So anyway, I missed walking about 3 or 4 days. And I woke up on the second day, and I generally walk around 9 o'clock. And at 9, it was raining. And I started thinking, oh goodness, I hope I'm not getting back into a rut, because I was kind of happy it was raining, you know? It's like I don't want to fall back into that rut because I want to walk. And I went ahead and read my scriptures and what have you. And I noticed it had slacked up and it stopped raining. And I decided to put my sneakers on and walk. And I went out and I walked, and I made it to Gordon Road, which is where I turn around and come back and head back. And as I was heading back, it started raining just a little. And the first thing I thought was, yeah, hold back the rain so that I can walk. And then I said, no, I recant that. Yeah. I said, don't hold back the rain unless it's your desire to hold back the rain. And I just kept walking. And before I realized, and as I walk, I'm praying. And before I realized it, it had stopped raining. And it was just such a cool breeze and just felt so good. And I just thank Abba for that. So it's like a lot of times we don't thank him for the small things, but I just thank him for blessing me and for the little things that he does in my life. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. All praise, honor, esteem be to the Most High. Praise the Most High. Shah Shamar.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom.
Yeah, I just want to give all praise to the Most High, you know, for life, mercy, you know, His love, you know, and also, you know, another Shabbat day. You know, recently I was thinking about, you know, all the things that I have been blessed with in this life thus far. And I was kind of thinking, you know, a lot of these things I didn't really deserve. but I still give praise to the Most High for the things that He blessed me with. And then I was thinking about, my judgment, is a lot different from the Most High's judgment. It's even the scripture, it talks about, the Most High's thoughts not the same as the thoughts of man. That's something that I catch myself on a lot, because I think about, certain things that I have received, and I'll say, well, do I really deserve this? Or, why did the Most High bless me with this? And then I think about the love of the Most High, and I also think about how, I have to get to know the Most High more to understand His judgment and things like that. So I just want to give all praise to the Most High, for giving me the wisdom and all the understanding, to think deeper about certain things. And also, I want to give some all praise to waking me up to the truth. I yield.
All praises, all praises. Imam Vadia.
Shabbat Shalom, all praises to Yah. My testimony is it's been about 6 weeks since they had suggested pain therapy for me, pain management, I'm sorry. But at any rate, Wednesday was my follow-up appointment, and the doctor was in tears when I told her, how I was doing. And she said that she was praying because what they gave me was the last resort other than narcotics, because I had refused the narcotics. And she was just so excited, but I was more excited than she was. And I'm just so thankful to be able, I feel like a human being again, if that's such a statement to make. And I've been up and out basically every day. When my Ish came in one day, he came in to do just different little chores around the house. And he looked around the day and he's like, oh, you did it. Oh, you did it. So I had did the things that I hadn't been doing because of the pain. But now it's like I'm in full drive and I'm just thankful, and more thankful. But I was thankful that the doctor, in her own way, said that she was praying that this would work because she understood my concerns about not using certain medications. And working together, she said she has a feeling of accomplishment. And she was thanking us, for working together, etc. I yield. I'm sorry, my Ish had something to say.
Okay.
Shabbat Shalom, Ms. Bakar, Moreh. I just want to say, I'm just so happy my stepmom is out of the hospital now. I'm back home with my dad, and that's been, real heavy on my mind, but I just got off the phone with my dad. I call him every day. And, I just want to say my dad sounds a whole lot more lively now. He's got his wife home for 40-something years. So I'm just happy. I'm just really happy that she's back home and doing well. And I just, and I also just want to say, I'm grateful, for everyone that pray for my Isha and I and our family. Thank you so much, Mr. Carr. We love y'all all, and we just pray for you to have a very blessed Shabbat. I yield.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. All praise, honor, esteem be to the Most High. We love y'all too, Iman Elder. We love y'all too. And Iman, all praise, honor, esteem be to the Most High. It's so good to hear that you've been doing so good. Praise Yah. May Yah continue to heal you and restore you, and Toda Yah for your father's Isha being returned home. Elder, all praise to the Most High. He's awesome. Praise the Most High. Iman Shoshana.
Shabbat Shalom, Ms. Bakar. Hallelujah. Praise Yah. I've been praying for you, Ima Abalia, and I'm so blessed by the news that you are doing so much better. I even wanted the ache to go away that you mentioned a couple of weeks ago. I was like, probably even take away the ache. Just take that away as well. Just a complete recovery. So praise Yah. Praise Yah. Hallelujah. I'm with Ima Audrey because I work out, I exercise, I walk. And walking every morning, just about every morning, is my favorite thing to do while I'm praising and talking to Yah. And it's been too hot the last few days to walk. So I've been doing more exercise. So normally I can only do about 5 push-ups. Yesterday I did 10. Today I did 11. I did 30 squats. I'm like, hallelujah, praise Yah. I did one more than I did yesterday. Hallelujah. So I'm thanking Yah for keeping me strong enough to do the exercises and building up the muscles and keeping me in shape. I'm just thankful at this age. It's good to be able to function and be in good health. And my blood pressure is good and everything is just awesome. And I'm just so thankful. Just truly thank you, Yah. Hallelujah. I yield.
Praise, honesty, be to the Most High. Praise y'all that you're feeling well too, Iman. Hey, Hakim, we know not to mess with our imams. They be doing all this walking and cardio, and now we got 11 push-ups. We know who not to mess with. Praise y'all. Praise y'all. But y'all feeling well and y'all walking and being encouraged. So all praise, honor, esteem be to the Most High, y'all. May He continue to increase in each and every one of you and all of us, His children. So praise be to the Most High. All right, Mr. Bakar, give all honor and esteem to the Most High for bringing us all into yet another Shabbat. I thank the Most High for all of our lives, strength, and health, and all the provision that He's made for each and every one of us this week, and for our people scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And I just thank the Most High, Yah, that His mercy endure forever, and He's given us all the opportunity to return unto Him, and for us being into yet another Shabbat. So all praise, honor, esteem be to the Most High, Yah. All right, Mr. Bakar, we'll be starting off our reading tonight in the book of Bereshit, chapter 24. And Kanaki, I want Bereshit 24 only. We're going to have pretty much an open discussion before I go into anything. So everyone, just tonight, it's going to be one of those open discussions. So as he reads out, it's so much covered in Bereshit 24. I just want to open the floor after we read this particular chapter. Then I'll come in after you all share your points. So please listen attentively. Kanaka, if you would, Bereshit chapter 24, Bereshit, which is commonly Genesis chapter 24.
All right. Bereshit for Genesis chapter 24. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and Yah had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house, that ruled over all that he had, put, I pray you, your hand under my thigh, and I will make you swear by Yah the Elohim of heaven and the Elohim of the earth, that you should not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell, but you shall go unto my country and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son Isaac. And the servant said unto him, peradventure the woman will not be willing to follow me unto this land. Must I needs bring your son again unto the land from whence you came? And Abraham said unto him, beware that you bring not my son hither again. Yah Elohim of heaven, which took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, which spake unto me, and that sware unto me, saying, unto your seed will I give this land. And he shall send his angel before you, and ye shall take a wife unto my son from thence. And if the woman will not be willing to follow you, then you shall be clear from this my oath. Only not bring my son hither again. And the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and swore to him concerning that matter. And the servant took 10 camels of the camels of his master, and departed. For all the goods of his master were in his hand. And he arose and went to Mesopotamia, unto the city of Nahor. And he made his camels to kneel down without the city by a well of water at the time of the evening, even the time that women go out to draw water. And he said, O Elohim, or Master Abraham, I pray you, send me good speed this day and show kindness unto my master Abraham. Behold, I stand here by a well of water, and the daughters of the men of the city come out to draw water. And let it come to pass that the damsel to whom I shall say, let down your pitcher, I pray you, that I may drink. And she shall say, drink, and I will give your camels drink also. Let the same be she that you have appointed for your servant Isaac. And thereby shall I know that you have showed kindness unto my master. And it came to pass before he had done speaking, that behold, Rebekah came out, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, with her pitcher upon her shoulder. And the damsel was very fair to look upon, a virgin, neither had any man known her. And she went down to the well and filled her pitcher and came up. And the servant ran to meet her and said, Let me, I pray you, drink a little water of your pitcher. And she said, Drink, my master. And she hasted and let down her pitcher upon her hand and gave him drink. And when she had done giving him drink, she said, I will draw water for your camels also until they be done drinking. And she hasted and emptied her pitcher into the trough and ran again into the well to draw water and drew for all his camels. And the man wondering at her held his peace, to wit whether Yah had made his journey prosperous or not. And it came to pass, as the camels had done drinking, that the men took a golden earring of half a shekel weight, and 2 bracelets for her hands of 10 shekels of gold of weight, and said, Whose daughter are you? Tell me, I pray you, is there room in your father's house for us to lodge in? And she said unto him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, which she bare unto Nahor. She said moreover unto him, We have both straw and proper enough and room to lodge in. And the man bowed down his head and worshipped Yah, and said, Blessed be Yah, Elohim of my master Abraham, who have not left destitute my master of his mercy and his truth. I being in the way, Yah led me to the house of my master's brethren. And the damsel ran and told them of her mother's house these things. And Rebekah had a brother, and his name was Laban. And Laban ran out unto the man unto the well. And it came to pass, when he saw the earring and bracelets upon his sister's hands, and when he heard the words of Rebekah his sister, saying, Thus spake the man unto me, that he came unto the man, and behold, he stood by the camels at the well. And he said, Come in, you blessed of Yah, wherefore standest you without? For I prepared the house and room for the camels. And the man came into the house, and he ungirded his camels, and gave straw and provender for the camels, and water to wash his feet, and the men's feet that were with him. And there was set meat before him to eat. And behold, but he said, and he said, I will not eat until I have told mine errand. And he said, Speak on. And he said, I am Abraham's servant. And Yah blessed my master greatly, and he has become great. And he have given them flocks and herds and silver and gold, and men servants and maid servants, and camels and donkeys. And Sarah, my master's wife, bare a son to my master when she was old, and unto him have he given all that he hath. And my master made me swear, saying, You should not take a wife of my son of the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell, but you shall go into my father's house and to my kindred, and take a wife unto my son. And I said unto my master, Peradventure the woman will not follow me. And he said unto me, Yah before whom I walk will send his angel with you, and prosper your way. And he shall take a wife for my son out of my kindred, and of my father's house. Then shall you be clear from this my oath, when you come into my kindred, and if they give you not one, you shall be clear from my oath. And it came to pass, and it came this day unto the well, and said, O Elohim of my master Abraham, if now you do prosper my way which I go, behold, I stand by the well of water. And it shall come to pass that when the virgin come out to draw water, and I say to her, Give me, I pray you, a little water of your pitchers to drink, and she say to me, Both drink you, and I will also draw for your camels. Let the same be the woman whom Yah have appointed out for my master's son. And before I had done speaking in my heart, behold, Rebekah came out with her pitcher upon her shoulder. And she went down into the well and drew water. And I said unto her, Let me drink, I pray you. And she made haste and let down her pitcher from her shoulder, and said, Drink, and I will give your camels drink also. So I drank, and she made the camels drink also. And I asked her and said, Whose daughter are you? And she said, The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bare unto him. And I put the earring upon her face and the bracelets upon her hands. And I bowed down my head and worshiped Yah, and blessed Yahweh, my master Abraham, which had led me in the right way to take my master's brother's daughter unto his son. And now if you will deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me. And if not, tell me, that I may turn to the right hand or to the left. Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, the thing proceeded from Yah. We cannot speak unto you bad or good. Behold, Rebekah is before you. Take her and go, and let her be your master's son's wife, as Yah have spoken. And it came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard their words, he worshipped Yah, bowing himself to the earth. And the servant brought forth jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment, and gave them to Rebekah. He gave also to her brother and to her mother precious things. And they did eat and drink, he and the men that were with him, and tarried all night. And they rose up in the morning, and he said, send me away unto my master. And her brother and her mother said, let the damsel abide with us a few days, at the least 10. After that she shall go. And he said unto them, hinder me not, seeing Yah have prospered my way. Send me away that I may go to my master. And they said, we will call the damsel and inquire at her mouth. And they called Rebekah and said unto her, will you go with this man? And she said, I will go. And they sent away Rebekah, their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant and his men. And they blessed Rebekah and said unto her, you are our sister, be you the mother of thousands of millions, and let your seed possess the gates of those which hate them. And Rebekah arose and her damsels, and they rode upon the camels and followed the man. And the servant took Rebekah and went his way. And Isaac came from the way of the well Lahai Roy, for he dwelt in the south country. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the eventide. And he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel. For she had said unto the servant, what man is this that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant had said, it is my master. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. And the servant told Isaac all things that he had done. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. And Isaac was comforted after his mother's death.
All right, hallelujah. All praises. So I want to open the floor to you all first, especially to all the officers and the elders. If y'all have any words to share, please share on. And, but the floor is open to everyone. What are you seeing in this chapter? And it's really a whole lot going on. And I just want you to pull your points that you see that the Ruach had highlighted in your minds as you read this. I know we've read this over and over again, because we go through the Torah each year. Some are newer to the congregation, so they haven't read it repeatedly with us. We've taught it in other classes or other studies that we've had also. But tonight I would just like to open it up to the floor first. So what's some of the points, or what's some things that you see going on here? And it's a lot taking place. So I now yield the floor, Mishpachah, for our Torah discussion tonight. It's an open floor discussion. So there's a lot of people online, so let's talk about it. All right, Shah Shamar.
And yeah, this is actually one of my favorite chapters in Bereshit. Like you said, there's a lot going on. I think this chapter could actually be used for, the starting point for, multiple lessons. But the parts that stood out to me, well, a lot of parts stood out, but I'm just gonna touch just the first one. The second one, verse 12, when the servant, he referred to Yah as, the old Yah Elohim with my master Abraham. So, and he also says that in another scripture, he says that, he consistently says that. So it seems like, he knows the Most High from Abraham. He refers back to, that same statement saying, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Abraham. And I was kind of thinking about that in this day and time. Imagine, someone knowing the Most High, mainly because of one person, saying, oh, I'm going to serve the Elohim, that brother or that sister is serving. That's what stood out to me. And also just kind of like there's a lot of culture aspects too. Like the first part, where the servant put his hand on the Abraham's thigh, he swore.
Adon, I hate to interrupt you for a moment. I don't know if it's just me, but this shy sound broken up to everyone else? Or is it my internet acting up?
Yes.
He's breaking up more.
Yeah, you're not as clear as you were earlier, Shy, but we did hear your statement, but if you can kind of reposition your mic or something, you're not as clear as you were earlier.
Okay, can you hear me now?
A little better, yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, the other part that I want to bring up was this, how the servant put his hand on the Abraham's side and he swore to him. And that's a culture aspect that stood out to me. I never heard of anyone doing that, in my life, or seen anyone do that. But yeah, those are the 2 points that I want to bring up for now. How are you?
All right, Toda, I like the reference to how you reference the servant, referencing the Most High of Abraham, the Elohim of Abraham. So that was a good point to highlight. Hallelujah. Ima, Audrey, I believe you were next.
Everything that Shai said, and I don't want to be redundant, but one of the things that I noticed, I know he said something about the servant praying. In verse 12, the servant prays, and then we see again in verse 14, he asks for a sign, and then he prays again after he realized that his prayers have been answered once he's there with Rebecca, what have you, and he sees that the sign has been fulfilled that he asked for. And then after he has spoken with Rebecca's father, and they don't have an issue with the young lady being taken with him, in verse 52, we see that he prays again. So I like the fact that he consulted Abba along the way. So many times we pray for something, and then once we get it, we don't go back and thank Yah. But sometimes it's good to thank him and continue thanking him as much afterwards as you did before. So that was one of the things that I noticed.
Hallelujah. And that's a great point that you pulled out, Ima. I'll touch on it again a little bit later. But the way that he continually communicated with the Most High, and that is a good point that you pull, because sometimes once the Most High does stuff for us, we don't always reference him, but you can see the continual reference, the continual praise, the continual prayer, the continual communication with the Most High in every effort and everything that happens. He always referenced the Most High for everything. So that was definitely a good highlighted point, Ima, as well as your other points. But I want us to be mindful because I have a statement I'll be making later on that same point. Toda Ima, Toda, hallelujah. Ima Shoshana.
I'm with both of them, with the acknowledgement of the praise and the thanks and the request from the Father, asking Yah for direction and instructions for both him and his servant. But the verse 2, where it says he took his oldest servant of his house, who ruled over all that he had. So this is, it reminds me of Moshe and Joshua. So it's the relationship that they've had, that he can trust this servant who leaves and has walked with him all these years. So that's one point I saw. And another one was that he would not let him take his son back into the pagan land. He did not want him nowhere influenced by that fact. He said, do not take my son back there, but bring the wife to him. I love that. And also how, what was the other thing? Oh, how he asked, the servant was asking specific instructions from Abraham. If the damsel does decide not to come back with me, what should I do? So that was an instruction also, that to be obedient. If she don't want to come, leave her. Just come on back. And we'll wait again on the Father's direction or instructions. And also his praying, asking the Father about, once he got there, of how to find this damsel, how to find this wife for Isaac. And as he was praying and asking Father for specific instructions, like if if this happens and if that happens. And sometimes we have to do that. That's about give us a sign. If this happens or that happens, then I know I have some inkling. This is where you're leading me. This is the one. This is the path I should follow. So he was asking that. And before he even finished praying, she came and did everything as he had requested the Father for her, of him. And how she was so willing to be a servant, so humble, and to give him water and to give all those camels. I mean, that's a lot of camels to be going back and forth from the well to fill up the trout of water. So that's servitude, that's humbleness. I love that about that. And how he rewarded her with the bracelets and the jewels and everything, and to show the wealth as well, that he meant well. He's like, thankful for what you've done, whether you're the one or not. Thank you for what you've done. I'm rewarding you for what you've done. So that's another thing, that the Father blesses us when we do what we're supposed to be doing. What was the other thing? The worship. I love the fact that the man always worshiped and thanked the Father for everything as he was directing him and showing him. And how they asked Rebecca if she was willing to go with this man. And the other thing was that he would not even eat anything until he was sure that he got his request before them, put it before them, because he didn't want to take advantage. It was like he didn't want to take advantage of them if she wasn't the one. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to move on to see if there's another one. So I love that, and I yield at that.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Y'all taking all my points. This is a great discussion, Nothing left to say, but I do want to lamb chop off of a point that Imam brought up about when it said took his Zakain Abad, or his oldest or his eldest servant whom he knew. That ties in with the 2-minute warning that Kanakya gave about not being quick to call someone friend. So he sent someone that is a true and worthy servant, that's a friend to him, that's been in service with him for a long time. He trusts this individual with his life and also with a selection for the wife of his son. So that's a very key point. And Iman covered a whole bunch of other points, which I'll be touching on some of the other points she made. But Todayah. And the reason why tonight specifically that I want to do this is because the word tells us to study to show yourself approved, a workman need not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. In the book of Thessalonians, it tells you to prove all things, hold fast to that which is good, reject that which is evil. Those are commandments for us, to study to show ourselves approved and to rightly divide the word. And it's also to prove all things and to hold fast to that which is good and reject that which is evil. So the thing is, I like for everyone to really see that when you just read the word for itself, with no one else's edification, with no commentary, with no added or pull thoughts from other places, inserting it with biblical or Torah text, it's unnecessary. The word tells you don't add to or take from. What do you just get from the Father's word as it's written? And I just want y'all to see before I say anything that that's what it says. And the way you can identify what to hold to that is good versus what is to reject that's evil, you can read and comprehend the word for yourself. We've been misled so many years, and some people only go by what the preacher, bishop, deacon, shalak, moreh, elder, imam, mother, whatever terms of leadership. We're all men and women, and we all have to have a relationship with the Most High. So I'm giving you all this long reason why we're doing it, because it is so beautiful to hear all the thoughts that I'm touching on, that I will be touching on also, already being hit just from your own reading without me saying anything. So now when stuff starts to be added, you should be able to hear clearly that's not the word of Elohim, because I understand what his word says. This stuff is being added. You're causing me to go off course, because when you read his word as it's written with his Holy Spirit, his Ruach HaKodesh, when he gives you the understanding, It's beautiful. And all that extra stuff that so many are now adding to Yah's word, associating with Yah's name, is off. So I just want you to see the beauty in the word. When you read it for yourself, you understand it for yourself. The reason why a lot of us think we don't understand it, because pastors allowed us for so many years saying that's not what it means. When you can clearly see what it means, then you get indoctrinated. And now there are those in the Hebrew Israelite community doing worse than pastors to have us going off into witchcraft and all types of other stuff that's not associated in the word. So I'm going to yield back to the floor, Iman Newkirk. It's just beautiful sitting back, listening to y'all present. Praise Yah. Iman Newkirk, the floor is yours.
Shabbat Shalom. I just want to say,
Shalom.
well, it's a lot said, but I just wanted to say that Rebecca was raised as a maid and a servant. And when you are raised right, you get in the right place to get your blessings at the right time, because she was, it's her culture, the way she was raised to take care of the flock and feed things. And because she was there at the right time in the right place, she was blessed. And so what I was getting out of that, it reminds us how we should raise our daughters to do the things they need to do, because you have people looking for wives, and they will see how much of a servant they are. So that's what I was getting out of that, how she was a good servant.
Hallelujah. Toda for your words, Iman. And like you said, she was in the right place at the right time to receive her blessings. And what she was doing also identified the manner and the type woman that she was. I'm going to be touching on that a little later too. Toda Yah, you've already covered it, Iman. I'll be lamb chopping off of you again later. Thank you for that. And we should be raising our daughters, and our sisters to understand culturally what a woman of Yah looks like versus this modern day bad chick, as they call themselves. Y'all know that they use another word. I don't use it. Bad chicks want to show their body. I don't need a man, and when they want a man, you know, all the stuff they have today. And I don't cook and I don't clean. Not that cooking and cleaning is the only thing, but there's things that we're doing away from our culture that culturally had a lot of people positioned in the right place to be selected as an Isha and blessed by Yah. So Toda Iman for that. Hallelujah. Bayit Francis.
Shalom. First, I want to give, before I speak, praise and honor, esteem to the Most High Yah, and acknowledge my Ish as my covering. What I got from it, and please excuse me because I've read Jasher as well, so I'm going to try to stick to Genesis, but more so the relationship. So we know that Laban is going to be the father-in-law, and then we also see that they came from Nahor. So I think it's really interesting that Abraham left his family because he was called by Yah, and he left his family, and then he's reunited with, through his messenger, or through his servant, with the abundance that Yah has given him. So he left with not everything that he has now, and he's showing up to his family blessed and highly favored by Yah through his servant. And then, you know, Laban, we know, comes in a little bit later, and he already sees the blessing that comes from Yah's chosen Abraham, and then now his sister. And so I think that when I think about what's going to happen with Jacob or Israel, like seeing like the connection, that's one thing. I mean, everybody said everything else. That was the only other thing I had to share that I was pulling, is like you can start to connect dots in this chapter as well. Praise Yah.
Hallelujah. Akoti, I like how you tied in how he left from his land, and now he's returning back to his land, or his servant is going back and showing the blessings that's upon him, because the servant has come back showing that he's a blessed man. And so what he left with wasn't those things. And so he's coming back with much, much abundance, which also shows that, you know, how a lot of times when we leave from our family, we leave from the place where Yah calls us to, there's going to be a lot of judgment of failure and doubt and stuff that the family could put on you when you're walking away from worldly ways to come to actually the path of the Creator. And so, as you said, him returning back, or his servant returning back, letting them know how Yah has increased him and blessed him. I think that is a good point. And also, it is very hard when we're reading some of this not to go to some of the other writings that you yourself have already read, which we will be filling in the historical side. We're trying to stick with just the text now, but I do want to support where she's going with that. When you do read some of the historical writings about what was going on around this time, just to give you a little backstory, not going all the way into detail. So do know that Abraham's father was raised under Nimrod, meaning he was under Nimrod's authority. Nimrod was the ruler in the earth. There was into a lot of paganism. Abraham himself was not actually still raised in the land. As a young child, he had to leave from the land because Nimrod wanted him put to death. So Abraham was raised with the priests, with Noah and his sons, to learn the ways of Yah, while his father and the rest of his family was still in paganism and things like that. Abraham went back to visit, called his father out of that nonsense, challenged his father on some things. They still want to kill him from destroying the idols. And he's telling his father, this is wickedness, this is wickedness. Why are you following all these idols? So eventually he does get his family to come away from the idols and idolatry, but they're not fully in the walk as he was, but he still called them away from some of that nonsense. So the point being, where a lot of our people always want to go back to ancestor worship and what the ancestors did, all ancestors aren't in righteousness, and everything that ancestors did wasn't good. Abraham left from where his ancestors dwelt to go learn of Yah and went back to bring them out. And now he's sending forth to his family, to his kindred, for a wife, as Zion just said, also showing the blessings of Yah, of the increase that's upon him. And we'll be filling in some of those voids when we go into some of the historical writings. But Toda Rabba Akoti, Zaken Yakwa.
Toda Moreh. Like everybody else just said, a lot of points that I had are covered, but I do want to go into a couple of the things a little bit. When we were talking about the eldest servant, what I see from that is, he's representing Abraham's house, and the brother and Bethuel, that's what they know of Abraham's house. If he came in there with not the right ruach, they probably would have said, nah, that's okay. You can go and find somebody else, you know what I mean? But he represented Abraham's house well. And like you said, the eldest, he knows Abraham, he knows as a good servant, of Abraham's house, he knows exactly what Abraham is talking about. He doesn't have to guess what kind of woman that would please Abraham. He doesn't have to guess, stuff like that. He knows Abraham. Like you said, he's probably a good friend of Abraham, not just his servant. And so I saw that as him representing Abraham's house to Laban and Bethuel, very adequately. His ruach came through, which kind of represented Abraham's house. So if Abraham's servant is this way, then we could probably determine and be quite sure that his son is going to be of the same character, the same ruach. So I thought that was pretty interesting, the way it was brought out, and something culturally. We see how her older brother had a role in these decisions, and the other cultural thing, which is I've always, we see this in several occasions where the visitor pretty much asks permission to leave the house. They don't just say, okay, I'm out, thanks for your hospitality and I'm gone. They're like, hey, is it all right if I leave, so to speak, let me go, and I thought that was interesting in our culture. So I yield.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Good point. I like how you culturally brought out about hospitality and also being a visitor, like just the way that, so that is a good point to bring out. Also, like that's a mindset we need to learn to return to, of how to be hospitable, how to be a good guest, so on and so forth. Praise be to the Most High. But I also like how you said that Abraham's servant represented his house, meaning He knows the character of Abraham. He's probably walking in that same character. He knows what he would desire and reject for his son because he knows him that well. So now that I'm about to go in, we have two that spoke about the servant, but one of my questions is, okay, before I go to my question, Ima Audrey, what you got, Ima? And we're going to go back to my question in just a moment. Yes, ma'am, Ima Audrey.
There was just one other thing that I noticed. In verse 35 and 36, it reads, and Yah has blessed my master greatly, and he has become great. And he has given him flocks and herds and silver and gold, men servants and maid servants, camels and asses. And Sarah, my master's wife, bare a son to my master when she was old, and to him has he given all that he has. So the master is letting Rebecca's family know that even though we're taking her from your home or what have you, that she will be well provided for, that she'll be well off, and that her each will have much riches or whatever, because all that the father has is being left to the son.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Thank you for that, Iman. So that's tying in with what Batzion was saying, how he's showing what he has, and he's stating how my master's been blessed. But the extra point that Iman just pulled out also, which is another major highlight, still, even though family is not, just like we have family that stays far away, but you still from time to time visit, have messengers. Back then they may have had messengers, they went to visit. Just like we know Abraham did visit Ishmael and things like that, even though he didn't still live with him. Abraham would visit him occasionally. So they still knew what was going on. So it is highly likely that Sarah's family knew that she was barren, knew she didn't have children, so on and so forth. So now the servant is going back, stating that Yah has sent me to this place, where Abraham has sent me to this place in the name of his Elohim. I'm coming, I petition his Elohim. His Elohim has blessed him with much, and by his Isha, Sarah, he's had a child whom he's seeking a wife for. So all that is really showing the power of Yah. And as you go down and you read a little further, it's saying they cannot deny that this is not of Yah. So we can't go against this thing. This is of Yah, when they're listening to the servant present. So that is another good highlight that Iman just highlighted, because they're also seeing that the blessing of Yah is definitely been upon Abraham and his house, and that she will be well taken care of. And there's already family in the land, because you know him, you also know Sarah, so they've been sent to a good house anyway, because everyone knows Abraham Sarah. Yes, ma'am, Iman Shoshana.
I forgot about verse 1, how Abraham knew he was getting up in age and that his son was coming to the age of being married. And he wanted to make sure before he left this earth that his son had the right Isha. So that was another point I wanted to bring out.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Thank you for that point, Iman, because just a quick Hebrew lesson for the Hebrew students, as well as everyone on the call, but just for the Hebrew students, they may get a little more out of this than some that may be newer. But I just want to share, as she was saying, that he's well stricken in age. Verse 1, and Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and Yah had blessed Abraham in all things. So he's now in his old age, now understanding that, hey, I need to make sure my son is well prepared. Why? So as Iman was saying, because he is the one, as Iman Audrey had already stated, that Abraham is leaving all of this stuff to his son, right? So now that he's leaving all the stuff to his son, the father is an Aleph Bet, or Ab, Av, Abba, whichever Hebrew dialect one is familiar with. In Hebrew, when you look at what it means, the Aleph Bet, that's the strength of the house. So the Most High, first and foremost, is the strength of our house. He is our foundation. He is our everything, the source of our everything. Man is created in his image after his likeness. Man is supposed to remember everything that the Most High commands him, and supposed to walk in the image of the Most High here in the earth. So when a man has a house or is a master over things, he becomes an ish or husband, and he has a son. He is that father who has the father Yah, which is the strength of the house, supposed to know how to govern his house by the Torah of our Father Yah. So he himself also following the instructions of the Most High Yah is a Abba himself, which is the strength of the house, and a son, which is going to be Ben in Hebrew, which is going to be Bet Nun, means the house continues, because of the representation of the Nun represents a sperm or a semen if it's drawn in picto, or not drawn, but what is known for in the picto to the Hebrews, and the Bet, which is the house continues. So a son continues the house. And in order for his son to continue his house and to continue to carry things on, also in the Hebrew culture, having children was a barakah or a blessing, where today I'm not knocking or trying to offend anyone. I'm trying to get out of even making that statement, because we're renewing our minds. We never was thinking abortion in the Hebrew community. Children are a blessing. And a man always wanted a son because the son continues his house, but his son also needs a good Isha to continue the house with him, so that it will be good ground for that son to plant seed, to bring forth good children so they can be fruitful and multiply in Yah. Adon Malakia did a very outstanding presentation on marriage some Sukkots back. I think it was 2016, might have been 17 or 18. I might have my dates mixed up, but he was saying how our marriages is supposed to represent the Most High. So in order for us to be fruitful and multiply, we first have to be in the Most High. So for a son to continue the house of his father who's serving the house of Yah, needs to also make sure he has an Ishadas in alignment with Yah. So therefore, when he's continuing his father's house, that woman will not do anything to jeopardize their household, as Eve jeopardized Adam's relationship or place with the father. So to be fruitful and multiply, you need to have a woman that's going to be in Yah, that will bring forth good children in Yah, so that the house can actually continue. So having children was a barakah, a blessing, something that all women of times of old wanted, as well as all men of times of old wanted. But this modern age that we're in, Shaitan has us wanting to abort and kill children for many different reasons. So I'm not going to get into that. So with that being said, family is very important. Family is very important. Mishpachah is very important. So now I want to go back to this relationship with Abraham and his eldest servant. So we've already been reading here in Bereshit. So there's some previous chapters back. Some things have been mentioned already about Abraham and this servant. I want you to share with me something about this relationship with Abraham and his servant. So Zakai and Yaakov already said that Abraham had to have a lot of respect for this servant, because this servant was going to be one that represents his house. This servant knows him like this. This servant, as I stated, was like a friend. He's close with Abraham. Abraham trusts him. So y'all tell me a little bit about it before I start going in. Tell me a little bit more about this relationship between Abraham and this servant. Someone tell me a little bit more about the relationship with Abraham and this servant.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalika, I don't know where my hand raiser is, so I just had the mic in. But right away, what I see is that Abraham and his servant, they share the faith in Yah. If you look at verse 57, the way that the servant speaks is that he believes. Where it says, when he said to Rivkah, may our sister, Agoti, become the thousands of tens of thousands, and may your descendants possess the gate of those who hate them. Speaking in prophecy and understanding her role in prophecy according to what Yah promised Abraham. And also in verse 62, in the LXX Septuagint, it says where it says Be'er Chai Roi. So that is the well of vision. That should be noted, and most of you probably have come across that already, but the Septuagint clarified that. And what that the main word there is roi, which is to vision, and the whole word together is to clarify these visions. So even Yitzchak believed and understood the vision, and what you were saying, Moreh, everybody is a chad, especially with Abraham and his servant, and believing Yah. And this would draw them together and make them close. And this is where the trust comes in when Abraham sent him out. Are you?
Hallelujah. And Adon, please just unmute anytime. Some devices don't have the hand raise feature on them. So Toda, and so again, that was very important what he brought out. This servant was not just a servant that's, hey, I'm here and I'm just a slave or a servant. He believed, he was a believer. Yitzhak, which is the actual son, is in alignment with the decision of the servant, the prophetic vision and everything that the Dome Malak y'all just brought out. So this relationship between Abraham and his servant is very tight, and it's tight for a reason, because that servant is of that same ruach, and the servant serves Yah also. Okay, is that King Yaquab? I see your hand up, yes, sir.
Moreh, and I was just thinking that if this is his eldest servant, he probably was with Abraham when he went to battle to get Lot back too. So he was probably brought up. And had that love and that faith. I don't know if I had to use the word faith, but that trust and that love for Abraham. And we know that adversity kind of builds tight bonds too. So y'all go through that adversity together. So he was, it ain't just like you said. He ain't just a servant that's working for Abraham. This is more personal than just a servant.
Okay, so I like that term. He's more personal than just a servant. He had a tight bond. He probably is one of the ones that went to war with him to get his nephew back. So he's been with him for a very long time. That faith, that trust is a very tight bond. Okay, I'm going to take Bot Francis and Ima Audrey be the last one on this topic, and I'm going to go in. So Bayet Francis, you first.
Oh, shalom. Okay. This is one of my favorite things. I'm gonna try to be short because I get really excited and I'll talk for hours. This I believe is Eliezer, which we know means Yah is my hope, or El, God is my hope. But a couple chapters back, before, when Abraham was pleading with Yah, he said, who am I gonna, you haven't given me an heir, who am I gonna give my things to my servant Eliezer? And so the fact that Eliezer is kind of was an heir, because he had no son, and then now he's still, I'm hoping I'm not mixing up Yashar, but he's still so enthusiastic to please his master Abraham. And so it's like he's a real help, a real friend, one that isn't greedy and trying to jeopardize his master's lineage so that he can reap the benefits. That's all. Praise Yah.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. I'll talk about yours in just a moment. Ima Audrey.
That's about safe, and Abraham's talking to Yah, saying, how you gonna bless me, seeing that I have no seed or what have you. All he had was Esau, and was that who he believed everything to. So that was the same point that I was gonna make.
Hallelujah. So, I already gave that little cheat sheet curve. So everything was a right answer. But what gives the word, or not the word, because the word is the power, but what gives your word validity when speaking to someone is the power of Yah that supports you, because you're using his word. Precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. You don't have to go outside of his word to bring stuff into his word and then try to use his word to justify nonsense that you're trying to teach. But his word justifies your statements because it's in his word. The beauty of it, like Batzion saying, you get anxious because when these things come out, that servant was already like a son to Abraham. As Zaken Yaquab and as Adon Malak, y'all said, he was of the same ruach. He trusted and he believed in the Most High. That servant had a tight-knit bond. It was more than just a servant. Why? When the Most High and Abraham was having a conversation, he was already willing to bless his servant with all his belongings. Oh, so it must be my servant Eleazar you talking about. That's the closest thing to me that I have as a son at this time is Eleazar, my oldest servant, my proven servant. He went to get my nephew back with me. He served with me. He's proven. He's all I have. He loves me. I love him. That's how close they were. He serves Yah with me. He knows he got circumcised. When I got circumcised, he got circumcised. Everything that I believe about Yah, he believes about Yah because I've been raising him in my house like a son. He's more than just a mere servant to me. Cannot y'all give me some scriptural support and to back me up, please? In the Apocrypha, when you get it, just let me know. When it talks about how a servant is supposed to be like family, when you have a servant of the Most High. The Most High is like servants. We don't treat people like slaves. So servants are like family. Culturally, when you have servants, they were like family. So this young man or this older man at this time now was like a son to Abraham. And he was of the same ruach because he served the Most High. And so everything that everyone has already stated about this servant is praying to the Most High, and he's letting the people know the Elohim of my master Abraham, meaning because he came to Abraham, and I learned of him through Abraham. That is the Elohim of the God which we serve. No other, don't want you to have it confused. This is not the God of my people or the nation of people that you may know that I'm from. I'm a servant of y'all brother, y'all person that's of your lineage of Abraham, and the God of Abraham is the God that I serve. That's the God that I prayed to on the behalf of this wife, on the behalf of my master, as Batzion said, and he wanted to please his master. He wanted to get this right. He desired that when you read in the historical writings. So a lot of people today, they don't really care as much about others and doing for others as what do I get out of it? He wasn't concerned with what he got out of it because he's already had a good life living in the land of Abraham, being a servant to Abraham, receiving the blessing that came upon Abraham from Yah. It fell upon all those. Remember, the word had already said, I will bless them that bless you and curse them that curse you. The fact that he's been Abraham's servant all these years, the reason why I have my blessings is because I'm Abraham's servant. And he was willing to give me everything, and I know that. And so now going with what Adom Malak was saying, I love it when a plan comes together. The reason why Yitzhak can also be so in alignment with everything that's going on with this servant who his father sent, because he knows that this servant has been like a big brother or uncle figure to me all my life. He is my father's most trusted servant, who my father would have been willing to give all he had. So I know he understands that in my father's absence, my father's gone, he's going to be there for me as well as my father was. He's righteous. He's family. So as the warning was last week, I believe it was, or maybe week before last, it said, be not quick to call a person friend. This wasn't a non-tried servant. This was a tried and proven servant. This is a person whose conduct, behavior, worship, prayer life, and everything Abraham had already seen and known for years. So now let's go back to some of the scriptures. Kanaka, did you get a scripture about servants yet?
Not yet. I'm just looking for it.
Okay. Just let me know when you get that. We'll come back to it. We'll backtrack to it. All right. So going back to the word now. So Abraham's eldest servant, he told him to go to the land of my fathers, to the land of my kindred. Do not take a wife of this land of Canaan for my son. I want you to go and to take a wife for my son of my kindred. I want to send you to this place on a journey to go and do this thing, okay? And Abraham said unto him, beware that thou bring not my son thither again. So his servant, as Iman Shoshana brought out, so Abraham also made sure, I'm sending you to a place specifically where I want you to go and get a wife for my son, but never, ever bring my son to this place, ever. So I'm sending you because I don't want my son going back to that place, because the Most High has already come to me and has told us where we're to go to. He's already blessed us with a land that I'm leaving to my son, but my son is never to return back to this place. Don't you take my, look, swear to me or vow to me that you will not bring my son back to this place to find a wife, but you go there to bring a wife back, because I don't want him going there, but I want her brought out. So he sent for his son's wife and told the servant, do not take my son back there. It says, and Yah Elohim of heaven, which took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, and which spake unto me, and that swear unto me, saying, unto your seed will I give this land, he shall send his Malachim before you, and thou shalt take a wife unto my son from thence. I'm showing you the faith of Abraham also. So we do know that he said something very faithful, but he also answered the servant's question also. Because when a vow is made, in order for someone to agree to a vow, there has to be specific things written or known when you're agreeing to something. So he told him to go and get a wife. He's also telling him that the Most High is going to bless this journey. But the servant still said, but what if the woman will not come? If the woman will not come, as long as you go and you do everything that I told you to do, if the woman would not come, then you're free from this. Even though Abraham had already told him, this is going to be a blessed trip. Yah is going to make a way. Verse 7, once again, Yah, the Elohim of heaven, which took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, and which spake unto me, and that swear unto me, saying, unto your seed I will give this land, he shall send his Malachim before you, and you shall take a wife unto my son from there. So he's already said, as Adon Malak said, it's already prophetic. Abraham has already said, you will bring a wife back, because the Most High is going to send his Malachim, commonly called his angel or his messenger, before you, and he will have a woman there for my son from you to bring back from there. Do not bring my son back to this place, because the Most High called me away from my father's idols, never to return back to those idols. Don't you take my son backwards. This is the place where we're to bring everyone to. We don't return to sin or to sinful places. We bring people to the place where Yah called us to. We don't revert back. So that's why when Imam Shoshana highlighted that point, that's one of the points I wanted to, because there's some things that our forefathers have done that have been wickedness. And a lot of times we return back to that trying to find our roots, but the Most High has given us instructions, very clear and specific instructions on what and what not to do and how to live our lives. And some things that our forefathers, as I said last week, that they might have done is not always of the Most High Yah. So we can see here that the Most High would call us away from what our forefathers have done to bring us to him. So Abraham is making it very clear, don't take him back. As the Most High has called me out from my father, I don't want my son going back there, but you bring a woman away from that place also and bring her here, and the Most High will send his Malachim, his angel, his messenger, whichever term one is familiar with, before you to make this journey prosperous, and you will bring a wife from there to here. And so, of course, we know the servant still, he's going to make the oath, but he still wants to know. So even though Abraham has this faith and he said it, the servant still asked that question, what if, like, peradventure, one does not come back with me? What I do? Abraham let him know, if that does not happen, even though I'm telling you what is going to happen, if it does not happen, you're free from that. Okay? Salika, I'm going to stop for a moment. Kanaka, you got the thing about servants for me?
Okay, and it's Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 33.
Sirach chapter 33, what verse?
Verse 30 and 31.
All right, read that for me. So this is the book of wisdom, just showing us something about servants. Read that for me, Adon.
If you have a servant, let him be unto you as yourself, because you have brought him with a price. If you have a servant, entreat him as a brother, for you have need of him as of your own soul. If you entreat him evil, and he run from you, which way will you go to seek him?
So you see there, it's telling you, if you have a servant, treat him like yourself. Treat him like you. Do good unto him. Treat him like a brother. Treat him like family. You don't ill treat him. If you ill treat a servant, he's going to run. He's going to try to get away. But if you treat him like family, if you treat him like yourself, if you treat him good, that will be a good servant. So with that wisdom, and we know Abraham was a righteous man who feared Elohim, he treated his servants like family. He treated them good. This bond was strong because he was treating them well, and those servants were blessed through being the servant of Abraham because Abraham made sure they were blessed. And they knew they were being blessed by Abraham because of the blessings that the Most High had bestowed, had blessed Abraham with, so they understood where all came from. And when they understood where all came from, as Ima Shoshana, Ima Audrey, and I think Zaken Yaquab have already brought out, we see how that servant would continually reference the Most High every step of the way and give thanks to the Most High for every little thing that took place, and the Most High only. All right, let's drop down a little bit. So of course we know in verse 10 it's saying how the servant took all these camels and departed with many goods, and he went on. And it says in verse 11, and he made his camels to kneel down without the city by a well of water at the time of the evening time that women go out to draw. The reason why I'm highlighting this is because, yes, there are things that culturally that our women used to do differently than what a lot of people may view today. Today, we view it whereas a woman has to do nothing in this society, and a man does all the work and all the labor, and a woman just sits back and boss the man around. Happy wife, happy life. Lo, la, no, that's not what the word says. When we find out, where did Moses meet his wife? By the well. Doing what? Drawing water. As Ima Newkirk, and I said I was going to lamb chop off her point in just a moment, love it when the plans come together. She said that she was in the right place, doing the right thing to be blessed. So she wasn't around complaining about what the men ain't doing and what a man don't do. Oh, a man should be doing this. It says, as he went to the well at the time where the women go to draw water. So women would also go to draw water, because in a mishpachah, as Adon Malak brought out during that year at Sukkot. So don't get this twisted. We're not saying, husbands or men, that you put all the work on a woman and you're not doing your part. We're saying that it's not that a man can't cook. A man can cook also, but there are things that women did culturally in our culture, but we don't want to sit here and try to make it a role of the sexes that this is what must be done. In your household, based upon your house, what is best for your house is what's needed. And I've seen households function certain ways. If I've seen an elder that was retired make sure that his wife that was still working, may the Most High bless the memory of our elder Herman. He would cook, but Ima was working. He was retired. He was home all day. So why should she have to come home and cook? There's some brothers that I know, I hate to say, they will be like, well, she can go to work all day. He's been retired. He's home all day, chilling, doing nothing all day. She'll come home. He'll still want her to have to cook his dinner. That's not even really being, well, I'm not going to judge anyone's household. Let me word this differently. But the mannerism in which I've seen it done sometimes, it does not look good in my sight. It looked good in my sight, from my opinion, my perspective, that a husband that's home all day, that's no longer in the field working, his wife is working all day, saying, I'm going to fix dinner for my Isha. So she got to go work all day. I can sleep all day. And then she got to come home and still fix dinner because she's a woman. And that's what a woman is supposed to do. No, what the Torah does is it shows us the love of husband and wife and the functionality of what the Torah expects for a house to function, for us to be fruitful and multiply in all aspects of life. So, but for here, I just want to highlight, because as Elder Herman said, the gear that didn't get any oil, we have to oil that gear. So the reason why we talk about Sabbath so much is because people know thou shalt not steal, but a lot of people don't know about the Sabbath. So we have to give that some oil, and we talk about it a lot. The reason why I'm focusing here now is because we're in a society where people feel like a man must do all this and a woman must be pampered all the time. But in a community, for a community to be successful, everyone worked the community. There was a purpose or role or function for everyone. So at the time when women went out to the well to draw water, he was out there with his camels that he was traveling with. And he said, oh yeah, Elohim of my master, Adonai Abraham, I pray you send me good speed this day and show kindness unto my master Abraham. He didn't even say show kindness unto me and let me get this over with quick. As Batzion said, he was still concerned with Abraham. Be kind to my master, because I'm not here for myself, even though I'm still here myself personally, so make this a quick journey for me. But his words to the Most High was, be kind to my master Abraham. Bless him with a Isha for his Yaladim. Let me pick right. Here's what I need. Behold, I stand here by the well of water, and the daughters of men of the city come out to draw water. So I don't want anyone to take offense. So I'm speaking directly in my house and to my house, because I'm speaking to my bot, or to my daughter at this time. And anyone that just hears me and my daughter's conversation, please, if it fits your household, please utilize it. But to my daughter, my bot, while we having Torah study with the Mishpachah, do you see why it is so important? The reason why my Isha tries to do certain things in the house to prepare for Shabbat, all the stuff that she does to prepare the home in the house, the reason why she tries to have you do certain things to tell you to be a certain way, there is a way that ladies, as Imam Newkirk had already said, is supposed to be trained up. So fathers, we're supposed to train our daughters up with Torah understanding, cultural perspective. It is not for a child to sit and say, well, let me be a kid. A household or community, everyone supplied. The little boys, the little girls, the husbands, and the wives. And Mishpachah, I want to go on record ahead of time, because I want this Sukkot to be a delight. All hands need to be on deck this Sukkot. All hands on deck to make it a delight for everyone. It shouldn't be the 5 or 6 that always prepares the meals, wash the dishes. Culturally, we should all be putting hands to the plow at some point in time, right? But back to you, my sweetheart, my little daughter, right? My body. So daughters are supposed to be trained and raised a certain way, because it's positioning them or preparing them for the day to become an Isha or a wife. And behavior patterns and things that you develop when you're young, sometimes, a lot of times, most of the times, carries on to you when you grow into an adult. And if there are bad character traits, they can be seen. If they're good character traits, they can be seen. And so your value can go up or down based upon your training or your acceptance to your training, your application of the training which you receive. So Torah is showing here that women were trained up a certain way. This was a daughter going out to draw water. So the daughters were doing work. The women were doing work. So social media, the society, many women, and I'm not trying to be offensive to women, today have it where all they want to do is be pampered. That was not the way that ancient women thought about themselves, just being pampered. There is absolutely nothing with pampering your woman. There's something I learned from Elder Herman, and I need to get back to it faithfully. My Isha is such a help sometimes. It's hard to do, but she can't be around here looking like a queen opening doors when I'm present. You know what I'm saying? Elder Herman always opened the door for Imam Audrey. Elder Newkirk always opened the door for Imam Newkirk. You know what I'm saying? So brothers, I'm not saying don't pamper your woman, but sisters, what I am saying is, while we do want to pamper you and open doors for you, still understand there are still things you can do. And if the husband has a load, help him with his load. Husbands, if the Isha has a load, help her with her load. That's cultural, that's Torah. So again, Zamir, I just want you to understand that it's not that anyone tries to be hard on you in home. Most households that are not raised in Torah, children can go play games, you can do whatever. When dinner's being prepared, all hands need to be on deck. Let's prepare dinner. When I was little, even my cousin was just speaking, and y'all, I'm doing this in general because sometimes when you teach a congregation, a lot of times your in-home participation can sometimes go lacking. So I got to make sure I'm feeding in home as well. So my cousin sat right there on that same chair when he was here about a month ago. You remember when O was here? He said, I remember how he said he want his son to come down here because all he does is sit up, you know, with games and stuff and in the room, but he needs to come down here to be around family because he remembers when we used to sit on the porch at grandma's house, all of the cousins, boys and girls. If we was going to eat dinner, it wasn't going to the grocery store and getting the groceries. It was picked out of the garden. I was shucking corn. Somebody was popping peas. Somebody was cutting cabbage, and grandma was cooking. Okay? But grandma wasn't shucking corn, chopping cabbage, popping peas. Everyone was doing something. And it was fun to us because it was cultural to us. It was just like, oh, we get to help grandma. But now society has y'all so rewired, and we ourselves have been failing because sometimes we have now fallen to the customs of the land. But no, our children need to be involved with the care of the home because that is training them up to continue the house, okay? And so as Adon Baruch in his teaching, the woman is the details of the plan. And the daughters give the value to a house. Why? Because a daughter is a valuable piece of property to the father's house because of the manner of man that she can be given to. But if your daughter loses her value, it may be hard to get a suitable husband for her that you would be happy to have for your daughter if they're not trained up. So as Iman Newkirk was saying, when she brought out the portion that she's seeing here, she was in the right place at the right time, doing what Hebrew women do, doing what those that are accustomed to that way of life was doing. So our daughters or our women were not just lazy and saying, oh, that water is heavy. A man should be doing that. You know, and I just teach transparent sometimes. And a lot of times we will hold our words because we would take the low. But there was a time at one Sukkot when, you know, we was hauling refrigerators and doing all types of stuff, trying to set up for Sukkot. And there happened to be a female that was trying to help the males do things because that female had a skill set that other females didn't have. She knew how to tie knots and certain things to secure certain things. And someone said to her, get out from there and let the men do that. That's what the men are supposed to do. How dare you tell someone something like that when the men are trying to unload refrigerators, freezers, and everything that happens to get, we tired. But if she can help, everyone should be helping. But that was what was told. And all the brothers, leaders and all, Adon Malak, I was there. We all took the low, you know what I'm saying? We didn't even make a comment, but that's the mindset that a lot of us have. That should have never been said. Everybody should have been saying, oh, they lifting that heavy stuff. You know, can we help? How can we help? Not let the men handle that and just sitting down waiting for Sukkot to go on. And now everybody wanting to know, well, are we going to have Sabbath service and now the men round tired from all of the trying to set up? Everyone should help. And brothers, just so we're not making it woman biased, it shouldn't be that the women are exhausted in the kitchen from doing everything and we can at least clean off the grill like Adon Marla made sure the men started doing, or we dumping the water, or we doing something. All hands on deck, all right? All right, now let me get back to the script. Sometimes we just gotta have this, we gotta have these discussions while we're at this place in Torah. So again, they were in the sister was gonna come out to be blessed, as Iman Newkirk said, because she was in the right place at the right time. What was the right place at the right time? She was coming out during the time in the evening when women go forth to gather water, okay? And the servant prayed to the Most High and said, be good unto my master Abraham. Behold, I stand here by the well of the water, and the daughters of men of the city come out to draw water, not the sons of the men, but the what? The daughters of the men come out to draw water. And let it come to pass that the damsel to whom I shall say, let down your pitcher, I pray thee that I may drink, and she shall say, drink, and I will give your camels drink also. Let the same be that thou hast appointed for your servant Isaac, and thereby shall I know that you have showed kindness unto my master. So he's saying very specifically, Most High, be kind to my master Abraham. Bless him with a wife for his son. I'm here when at evening, when the women come out to draw water, let the woman that actually tells me to have something to drink and give my camel something to drink also, because there's going to be many women, daughters of men out here. But the one woman specifically that comes and gives me drink and gives my camels drink, that is me knowing that you're telling me that's the woman to select. So yes, all women are doing something, but this woman's going to be doing something a little extra. Her character, her personality, her willingness to be a servant, as Imam Shoshana already said, her service is going to be even different. So yes, we're doing our chores. Oh, we're out here doing our chores. But she's not just doing her chores. She's doing her chores with kindness, okay? So it came to pass before he had done speaking that, behold, Rebekah came out, who was born to Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, with her pitcher upon her shoulder. And the damsel was very fair. The word for fair is Yaphah, or Yapah, which is very beautiful to look upon, a virgin. Neither had any man known her. And she went down to the well and filled her pitcher and came up. And the servant ran to meet her and said, let me, I pray thee, drink a little water of your pitcher. And she said, drink, Adonai, drink, my master. She don't know this man. And she called him master. So also, what? I don't know you. And she could still be starved. I'm not saying that we should just be all up in men's face. That's not what I'm saying. But for this servant to be Abraham's oldest servant, you now know he has some years on him. So he's an elder gentleman at this time. So she still called him Adonai, or my master. She referenced him with a term of respect, not with just a what? She referred to him with a term of respect. And she said, drink, my master. And she said, drink, Adonai, or my Lord. And she hasted and let down her pitcher upon her hand and gave him drink. And when she had done giving him drink, she said, I would draw water for thy camels also until they have done drinking, until they've done drinking. So not only did she give him something to drink, she now said, I will now go draw water for your camels to have something to drink. What is that? That's extra work. I got to come get this water for my father's house, or for my family's house to take back. Now I'm giving a stranger something to drink. And now, oh, I see that you have camels. I know they need something to drink also. Let me take my pitcher and go get some water for them also. So now she has extra work that she's doing. As Imam Shoshana said, it is showing the level of servitude, her kindness. So now the Most High is now revealed to this servant of Abraham that this woman will be a good match for his son, because, man, she already has a heart of a servant. She is willing to serve. She is caring. She's loving. She's kind. She's not complaining. She's not saying, oh, now I got to go get some more water. Oh, no, I can't give you none of this water. I see you are thirsty. You travel from afar. Let me give you this drink. All right. So, and she hastened to empty her pitcher into the trough and ran again unto the well to draw water and drew for all his camels. So all his camels, remember, he came abundantly with many camels. So she's given all them drink. And the man wondered at her, held his peace to wit whether Yah had made his journey prosperous or not. So still, and I want us to see how we ask Yah certain things and we still kind of question the very thing that we ask Yah, which does not make us evil or wicked. It's just we're trying to make sure. So it said he still wanted to know that Yah prospers his way or not, but he just prayed to the Most High that the woman that does this, let that be the woman. So this thing has happened. It puts me in the mindset of Gideon, when Gideon said, Most High, well, if you really want me to go fight this battle, let dew come upon this rag. Oh, Most High, take the dew back from this rag. You know, I just want to be sure. Well, it was already, if dew was not going to be on the rag, you should have been sure. But now I not put dew back on the rag. Like, that's how we are sometimes. But I'm just showing Mishpachah that the Most High, a lot of times he does answer us. Sometimes we don't walk in the faith, or we don't really acknowledge him the way that we actually should when he does things for us. Sometimes we still have that little doubt. So his prayer was actually answered, but he said he was still wondering if the Most High had prospered his way or not. And it came to pass, as the camels had done drinking, that the man took a golden earring of a half and shekel weight, and 2 shekels, and 2 bracelets for her hands, and 10 weight of gold, and said, whose daughter art thou? So now what he need to make sure is, but what house is she from? Because I have to make sure she's of a specific house. So if the Most High has already done this, and he knows that Abraham told me to get her from his house, then I possibly could already assume that she's already done this thing, but it could still just happen to be a coincidence. So whose daughter are you? So he still asked the question. He's trying everything. He's doing everything to the fullness. So he now sees that she's now of Abraham's house. And she said unto him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, which she bare unto Nahor. She said, moreover, unto him, we have both straw and provender enough and room to lodge in. And the man bowed down his head and worshiped Yah. So when he got his answer, he bowed down and he worshiped Yah. That is one of the things that Adon Malak, Ima Shoshana, the Ima Audrey, Zakim, Yaakov have already brought out, how this man worshiped the Most High. So he prayed to the Most High. He's now saying like, wow, I prayed. And before I finished praying this thing, this woman came and did these things I asked for. I wanted to make 100% sure that that was Yah. Whose daughter are you? I'm of the house of Nahor. I'm of the house, I'm of Milcah. This is Abraham's family. Wow, praise you, Yah. And he bowed down and he worshiped. That is something that if we ourselves want a real close relationship with the Most High, we have to learn how our forefathers did things. You know, our forefathers, as well as those that were not necessarily our people of our lineage, but they were with our forefathers. So they still sort of fall under that heading of forefathers because his righteousness is mentioned. He was Abraham's family. So the way they reference the Most High in everything, that's the way we need to start referencing the Most High in everything. No matter how great, no matter how small, we need to ask the Most High for guidance. No matter how great, no matter how small, we need to give the Most High thanks and thank him and worship him whenever he answers whatever we ask him. That is the way we actually have that close bond and relationship with the Most High. And this is what Abraham knew about this servant, because he was raised in Abraham's house and he was family. He loved Yah just as Abraham loved Yah, and he referenced Yah, he petitioned Yah, and he gave Yah thanks and he worshiped Yah. And he said, blessed be Yah, Elohim of my master Abraham, who have not left destitute my master of his mercy and his truth. I being in the way, Yah led me to the house of my master's brethren. So he's giving Yah praise for everything. And things that we are thinking is happening by coincidence that we ask the Most High for, we should never think happened by coincidence. Let me tell you something. I was talking to Sar Yohanan today. All praise be to the Most High. I had a doctor's appointment. I went the wrong way. I made some wrong turns, and I said, well, I'm gonna try to go down this road to come back up to try to get to the doctor's office. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't get out this way. But as I'm driving while I'm talking to Sar Yohanan, I was like, hallelujah. Because all the wrong turns that I made, guess where I ended up at? The right what? My daughter said the right place. I ended up at the right doctor because I was actually going to the wrong doctor's office. And I was trying to find my way back to the wrong doctor's office, making the wrong turns. And when I was making the wrong turns to the side streets, trying to find my way out to try to get back to the wrong doctor's office, I passed going in the direction that I don't know how to go, the actual doctor I was supposed to be going to. I'm like, oh, I'm not supposed to be going to my primary doctor. I'm supposed to be going to the eye doctor. I was going the wrong place anyway. Yah took me there. He led me there. Hallelujah. And I told Saryana, man, praise be to the Most High. I'm going the wrong way and Yah brought me to the right place. So let us never take anything for coincidence, by accidents, or happenstance. And never let us associate anything or any other possibilities of how this happened other than the Most High Yah. Yah did that for me. Praise Yah. That's what our forefathers knew and understood, and they referenced him no matter how great, no matter how small. I was real early, so I could have went the other way. I could have went the wrong way and still got back because I was 30 minutes early. But still, Yah made it where I didn't have to burn any more gas. So you give Yah thanks for everything, no matter how great, no matter how small, because Yah made that possible. Praise Yah. Hallelujah. All right. So again, so what we see here is the faith not only that Abraham had, but also the faith that the servant had in the Most High. Dropping down to, so of course we know that Rebecca had a brother and everything. So now she invited this man back to their home and saying, we have plenty of provender, we have food, you can come and lodge there. So she's showing hospitality. She's bringing him back to introduce her to the family. Verse 31, and it came to pass, and he said, come in, this is the brother, thou blessed of Yah, wherefore standest thou without? For I have prepared the house, a room for the camels. And the man came into the house and ungirded his camels and gave straw and provender for the camels and water to wash his feet. 33, and there was set meat before him to eat, But he said, I will not eat until I have told mine errand. And he said, speak on. So now he's already gave praise to the Most High, but he's still saying, I got to see this thing all the way through. As Imam Shoshana said, they're telling him, come make yourself at home, wash your feet. We have plenty of food. They prepared a meal to feed him. And he said, I will not eat until I tell you the reason why I'm here. I must tell you my errand. So he told him, say on. And he said, I am Abraham's servant, and Yah have blessed my master greatly, and he has become great, and he have given him flocks and herds, silver, gold, men servant, maid servant, camels, and asses of donkeys. Sarah, my master's wife, bare a son to my master when she was old, and unto him have he given all that he hath. And my master made me to swear, saying, thou shalt not take a wife to my son of the daughters of the Canaanites in whose land I dwell, but you shall go unto my father's house to my kindred and take a wife unto my son. So don't take any of these wicked Canaanite women. Go to my father's house. That's why I'm here. And Yah has led me to your doorstep, sir. Pretty much. That's why I'm here. And he said unto me, verse 40, and he said unto me, Yah, before whom I walk, will send his Malachim with you and prosper your way, and you shall take a wife for my son of my kindred and of my father's house. Going back to what I stated earlier, the faith of Abraham, saying Yah will send a messenger. He will walk with you. He will send his angel or his Malachim before you to prosper your way. So when the servant is saying, did Yah prosper my way? Abraham had already told him, Yah will prosper your way, but this stuff is still being fulfilled. And it says, and thou shalt take a wife for my son of thy father's house. Then shalt thou be clear of mine oath when thou comes to my kindred. And if they give not, then thee one, thou shalt be clear of my oath. And I came this day into the well. And then I'm going to summarize from this point. So he's letting them know, then I came to the well at the time when women draw water. I prayed this prayer to Yah, and Ribkah is who showed up, and everything that I prayed to Yah for, she did. She gave me water. She gave my camels to drink. I was supposed to find someone of Abraham's kindred. She happened to be Abraham's kindred. That's how I ended up at your door. Yah is doing this. And so now that's when they even made the statement, hey, we can't argue with that. This has to be of Yah. They didn't say, oh, this is happened by coincidence, or wow, this is a miracle. No, this is Yah. This is Yah. So who are we to deny sending the daughter back or sending her back to be a bride? But one of the other things that the imams brought out while he was there, that they call Ribkah. I'm summarizing now. They called Ribkah and they asked her in verse 57, and they said, we will call the damsel. So as Imam Shoshana brought out, how he also, one of the elders brought out that he also asked permission to leave. Like, no, I don't want to stay long. I'm not being rude, but hey, I'm on this mission. Can we leave now? If it's the will of the Most High, can we leave now? He still asked permission. He still was being polite with it. And they said, we will call the damsel and we'll inquire at her mouth. And they called Ribkah or Rebekah and said unto her, will thou go with this man? And she said, I will go. And they sent away Ribkah, their sister, and her nurse, and Abram's servant and his men. And they blessed Ribkah and said unto her, thou art our sister. Be thou the mother of thousands, millions, and the seed, and your seed possess the gate of those which hate them. So we can see here that she was of willing heart. So I do know a lot of times in the society that we're living in, we're sometimes wanting to put a time on how long will we know, or how long do we need to have known someone before we know that they are the one. From here, she's never even met Yitzhak. She's hearing the word of Elohim through a messenger or servant of Abraham. Her being raised a certain way to be a keeper of house, to be a good daughter that goes out to draw water at the time when women go out. She's also knowing that she's being trained up to be a wife at some point also. She was willing to go. She didn't say, well, I want to stay with my family a little while longer. Hey, let me go back into our master's house so that I can meet my covering, who is now going to put his coat over me to cover me. I'm ready. I'm ready. So the question is, without question, are we ready a lot of times for what Yah has for us? That will be the question. Are we ready? And how did we know that she was ready, or the servant know that she was ready, or she was the one? And how much time did he have to spend there? Not very much time, because he prayed to the Most High. And the Most High showed her some things. And one of the elders, I believe it was Ima Shoshana, brought up, and it almost brought a tear to my eye, about how the Most High allowed this thing to happen for Abraham to prepare his son before he died, to make sure that she was able to have a fit wife before he died. I am so thankful to the Most High. May the Most High bless the memory of my mother and father, but I am so thankful to the Most High that my mother and father got to meet my Isha, to know that before they left this earth, that I had a wife that will be a good helpmeet, that will love me, that I could build a family with, and that I could continue the house, the foundation that they laid for me and my family, that I will continue it on in righteousness. Not shacking up, not fornicating, not doing a whole bunch of stuff, but with a woman that my mother told me I like her. And I told my mother, I've never heard you say that back in the day about any woman. She said, you never asked. And if you would have asked, I would have had to tell you the truth, but I like her. My mother gave the approval. My father loved my Isha. They knew I was good before they left here. And even with the dementia that my father had, he would tell my Isha before the dementia got so bad, to the point where it got as bad as it was, even before we was married. I thank the Lord for how you take care of me, how you give me my meds and things when we would just go in our courtship process before we came together. My father with his dementia knew that my Isha took care of him even before she was his daughter-in-law. Knowing that my son is taken care of, he's in good hands. I praise the Most High. So we have to return to culture and understand that even as children, we want our parents to be able to see that we have done something right in the Most High sight, first and foremost, and also in their sight. Someone that they approve of. That's cultural. And I thank the Most High that I got to experience that, and that my parents got to meet my Isha, to know that he now is stable. He's been serving the Most High for a long time, but now in our sight, he is complete. He is now complete in Yah. So praise you, Abba Yah, for that. And I think it was Zakane Yaquab or Ima Shosham that brought that point out, that as he was getting old, he wanted to make sure that his son had a capable, a righteous Isha that would do well by her Ish. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Going down to the closing point that I have for this chapter. And now they're returning back. Verse 61, and Rivkah rose and her damsels, and they rode upon the camels and followed the man. And the servant took Rivkah or Rebekah and went his way. And Isaac came from the way of the well, Lahairoi, for he dwelt in the south country. And Yitzhak went out to meditate in the field at the evening tide. And he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. And Rivkah lifted up her eyes. And when she saw Yitzhak, she lighted off the camel. For she said unto the servant, what man is this that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant said, it is my master. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. And the servant told Yitzhak all things that he had done. And Yitzhak brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rivkah or Rebekah, and she became his wife. And he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. All praise, honor, esteem to the Most High Yah. So the servant is now also referring to Isaac as his master. When you go back to what Adon Malachi was bringing out about the relationship between that servant and Abraham, that servant also had a relationship with Isaac, or Yitzhak, which was the son, which was younger than him. And he also referred to him as his master. Why? Because everything that my master has is going to him. He's the next authority in line. That is my master, which is your covering. That's whom I'm coming to join you to. And while he's in a state of loss of his mother and mourning of his mother, the joy that the Most High brought to him was his father sent for him Isha. And she, when he came, she covered herself with a veil to be presented before her Ish. And so there was not a long courtship that we see written here. There was not a whole long courtship. It said he took her into her mother Sarah's tent and she became his wife. So also culturally, there's what we call wedding feasts and things like that. And weddings were a whole lot different than what we do today. So a part of the law of marriage and the way marriage was consummated back then was going to be the act of joining together, becoming one flesh, the act of actual having intercourse. There should be a token of her virginity, which will be on the sheets. So whenever people will come to a wedding feast, there is a celebration, there is a feast, there are celebratory things that's going on. There are covenants and vows made. There are ketubas and things signed, agreements and stuff made, came. But there's also the time which actually consummates the actual marriage. And that's when they go in and they lay together. So we see here that it was not a very long courtship. She knew what she was sent for. I'm sent to be his wife. This is now to be my Ish. And he did not come and say, I didn't ask for her. If that's who my Abba sent for, he had to also be a willing servant or willing son, which we already know he was willing to give his life when he was going to have to be sacrificed. But if that's what his father said was for him, he accepted her and he went into his mother Sarah's tent and she became his wife. So with that, I give all praise, honor, esteem to the Most High. This is very cultural information. It's a lot there, and I will be touching some more of these points in our gift study at some other point, but I want to yield the floor. I see Iman Shoshana. You had your hand up, Iman, the floor is yours.
Kane, I wanted to point out what you brought out of that fact that they brought her into Sarah's tent. I like that they pointed that out because today with all the shacking up that they do, it's letting you see the custom is she's separated from him. They're not under the same tent. She is with the mother until the marriage took place. I yield.
So that's slightly different here, Iman, in this one. So remember, his mother is, and Rivka arose and her damsels, and they rode upon the camels and followed the man. And the servant took Rebekah and went his way. And Isaac came from the way of the well. Oh, so I'm way up. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. So when he took her, when Yitzhak actually took her, he was going to know her. So remember, we was going over in the gift study. You know, a lot of people go against the whole thing about sex is marriage. Sex alone is not marriage. That sex or the act of intercourse consummate the marriage. There are vows. There is a understanding. There's a commitment. There's a covenant. A covenant can be written or a covenant can be verbal, but there has to be a covenant. It has to be known. It has to be witnessed. Everyone has to know. So she was brought there for that purpose. And so when he took, and so it was custom that they would take them into a wedding chamber or into some place for them to actually consummate their union. So we see here just from this text that, you know, there was no shacking up, but she already came customarily for that. Now, they give us a short text here, and I know that we are doing some other reading, but from what you're saying, but there was no shacking up, as Iman stated. There was none of that. There was no, well, let me just get to know her and see if I like her, and then send her away if I don't like her. That's not how Hebrews got down. We don't just fornicate, sample around with women, and then send them away until we find a woman that pleases us in the bed sexually. That's not how it works. When we as Hebrews, culturally, per our culture, when you and a woman lie together, it does not need to be for fornication, because fornication is forbidden. It needs to be for the act of the marital union and not to be separated. There should be no intercourse at all, except there is a covenant of marriage in place, a marital agreement in place. Shacking up, as the world commonly uses, fornicating, sleeping around, whatever that term is, we don't do that in our culture. Where we do it because we wicked, but we shouldn't do that in our culture. We shouldn't do that according to Torah. We shouldn't. And if we have slipped up and put the cart before the horse, then there's even laws to what happens if you've slipped up and put the cart before the horse. There is an obligation, there's a responsibility, and there's a way to repent. And that repentance is, especially if she was a virgin, then you should take her and she shall be your wife, and you cannot put her away all the days of your life. So, whole nother topic for another time, but Iman, thank you for that. The fact of there was no shacking up in this, there was nothing unjust about this. The intent, the purpose, when she came there, I'm going to be joined to this man. And when she got there, she was joined to this man, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. But when we go to, and I'm reading this way right now, Iman, before we put in some of the other stuff that I know y'all have been reading, for the sake that everyone does not read the other writings. So I'm trying to stick, and that's why Batzion said it was hard for her to make certain statements tonight because she's read some of the other stuff already. So I'm trying to keep it in the simplified format right now, and then we will be filling in some stuff as we go forward. But as Iman stated, there was no fornication that took place. There was no unrighteousness that took place. When his mother passed, he was comforted because he had a virtuous woman at his side that he took into his mother's chambers. And I'm going to close out with Kanakya, Mishlei, Proverbs. Let's go there for a moment because this is what she was. Proverbs 31. And let's take it from the top. Proverbs 31, verse 1. Mishlei of Proverbs 31, verse 1. Kanakya, when you get it.
The words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. What my son, and what the son of my womb, and what the son of my vows. Give not your strength unto women, nor your ways to that which destroys kings.
So pause. So this is now King Lemuel. His mother is now speaking to him, saying, the son of her womb, the son of my vows. Give not your strength unto women, nor your ways to that which destroyeth kings. So don't give your strength to women. So now we want to cover some other stuff from this cultural portion. When we come to 31, we normally drop all the way down to verse 10. Let's get all of it. This is a mother giving her son sage or wise counsel or wise advice. You are a king, you are a man, you are a head. Never give your strength to women, nor your ways to that which destroyeth kings. So don't give your strength to women, nor to ways that destroyeth kings. So never give in to anything or anyone that destroys kings. Read on, Adon.
Is it not for kings, O Lemuel? It is not for kings to drink wine, nor princes to drink, nor for princes strong drink.
So in our custom, in our culture, and biblically speaking, Torah speaking, the church has made people feel like if they drink wine or if you drink, that's a sin. But yet they eat crabs, shrimp, they celebrate Christmas, Easter. They live a sinful lifestyle, and they have teachings in the church that's full of sin, and they'll tell you that having a drink is sin. It is not sinful. The word tells you that you can have a drink, only be not a drunkard, nor giving into being drunkard, right? But here it's saying something. It is not for kings, O Lemuel, it is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes strong drink. So if you are a prince, or if you are a king, it's not for you to be given a strong drink. You need to always be focused. You don't need to be like the common man. And even for priests, when you go and you start reading through the laws, if a priest that is a priest is given to wine, he has to excuse himself from duty. He's not supposed to stand before the people if he's under the influence of Yayin. He shouldn't be teaching a lesson. He shouldn't still be trying to render judgments if he's under the influence of Yayin. Not saying that he can't, but if he's done so, and we'll cover that at some point in the law, that if you're under the influence, then you're not going to be of the total right perspective or mindset to make certain judgments. There's laws even for if you have Yayin. So I'm not one that knocks Yayin. We're not one that knocks strong drink. But the mother's telling him that as a king or as a prince, as a man in this leadership position, man, it's really not for you. Don't give your strength to women, nor your ways to that which destroys kings. A king should not be given, nor a prince should not be given to strong drink. You got to be clear-minded all the time. Read on, Kana.
Lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the judgment of any of the afflicted.
Lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the judgment of any of the afflicted. So you might be called on at any time, and you can pervert the judgment of the afflicted because you're under the influence. So it's not for kings to do these things. Read on.
Give strong drink unto him that is ready to perish, and wine to those that be of heavy hearts.
So give strong drink and wine to those that are ready to perish. Somebody's that's sickly, they're dying. Give them wine. Let them be joyous. Let them not focus on the pain that they may be experiencing or the worration of crossing over. To those that are of a heavy heart that's going through something, give them a strong drink of some yayin to calm them down. Read on.
Let him drink and forget his poverty and remember his misery no more. Open your mouth for the dumb in the cause of all such as are appointed to destruction. Open your mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy.
So you got to be here to cry out for the poor, the needy. You got to be here to judge righteously. You got to be of clear mind. So don't give your strength to women, meaning don't let women dictate to you how you do things. You are the king. You are the head. Brothers, Akim, don't give your strength to women. To my sisters, you know, I don't mean any harm. Men, we are the covering. We are the head. So if we're going to teach this thing culturally sound, we have to have this discussion also. And a lot of women, a lot of times, not any women on this call, I definitely don't believe, but we're teaching it culturally. Men, we have to take our strength back. This society has stripped men of their strength. Akoti Rose even said during our gift study a week ago or so ago, how hearing culturally how things are written, it's helped her. Praise be to the Most High Yah, because in the churches, the respect was never given back to the man. But culturally, we see here that this mother is giving her son a king, sage, a wise counsel. And now we as men have to understand that Adam went off because he listened to Eve. Brothers, do not give your strength to a woman. But if your woman is the one that is right, yield to the strength of the power of Yah through your woman and submit if you're out of order, as Moses had to do. So we have to teach the volume of the book that's written. But you have to make decisions based upon that which the Most High gives you. There may be some time that your Isha may not have the same compassion, the same mercy, the same judgment that Yah's placed on your heart as you stand before the people. Your understanding, your patience, your mercy, your long suffering is different. You have to teach your house. There's going to be things your house may know, but may not have the ruach to fully understand. You as the head of the house have to make sure you set the tone of the house. And don't let the mood or the emotion of the house switch your mood or your emotion or your way of being the man of the house. But now if your Isha is showing you faults in your character and faults in Torah that you know to be false, then correct that and you submit to that. But I believe y'all understand where I'm going with this. There's a certain authority that the Most High has placed on men, and we need to walk in that authority in righteousness, not abusively, and not yielding our strength to women. and argument. There's nothing wrong with being strong or with strong drink. But if you're on duty for the Most High, that is not the time for strong drink. I do not need to have been having a whole bunch of yayin and talk about, now let me go teach Sabbath lesson. Read on. Let's get to the point, because I know we get over time just a little bit. Let me get to some of this point. I want to bring all these points out. So it says, open your mouth, judge righteously. Drop to verse 10. Now let's get to it.
Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price
Was Sarah,
far.
Aslika, was Ribkah found? Ribkah was found. He was sent to a place, and it says, who can find a virtuous woman? Ribkah came out and was doing virtuous woman stuff. As Imam Newkirk said, she was in the right place at the right time because she was doing virtuous woman business. That's how she was found. So the question is, who can find a virtuous woman? For what, Kanakya?
For her price is far above rubies.
For her price, her makar is merchandise, her value. As I was telling my daughter, a woman has a value, a price. Her price is far above rubies. She's expensive. It's hard to find because the requirements for a virtuous woman is going to mean you got to be an Ish Elohim yourself. You got to have virtue with you also, because it should be so hard to obtain her if you're unrighteous. An unrighteous man should not really have a virtuous woman because her price is far above rubies. So even though we've just said don't give your strength to a woman, we're now seeing that a woman's price, if she is virtuous, and Kayil is strong, meaning she's a strong woman also, her price is far above rubies. Read on.
The heart of her husband doeth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil.
The heart of her husband do safely trust in her, so that he shall not have no need for spoil. So this servant, when he's seen Ribkah, he's seen these virtuous qualities. Man, she gave me something to drink. She gave all my camels something to drink. Man, my master and my other master, which is the son of my master, will have nothing to worry about with this woman. She's a good, virtuous woman. He will be able to trust her. She will know how to keep house. She will know how to take care of him. I can see the ruach that's on her. She's virtuous. She's sent of Yah. Read on. And I'm telling you, it is nothing worse than for a man to have a woman that he can't trust. It shortens the years of his life because of the worration and the stress that a man will have from a woman he cannot trust. That's why I say a virtuous woman price is far above rubies. A virtuous woman really don't have time for all the worldly nonsense that non-virtuous women have time for anyway. And it's easy for her husband to trust her because she's doing the virtuous things. So, sisters, virtuous women, y'all are priceless. You're valuable. Do not give away the value of your Torah obedient lifestyle to someone that's not in Yah. You're too valuable for that. Brothers, definitely do not take a woman into your presence that's not of Yah. You're supposed to be looking for a virtuous woman. The Torah says that a priest cannot take a woman that's not a virgin unless she was a wife of another priest that has died. Why? Because she's a virtuous woman. She already knows how to be a wife of a priest. But don't go take a worldly woman that's not trying to serve Yah. And sisters, don't go to no worldly man that's not trying to serve Yah. You're too valuable for that. Don't devalue yourself. Don't devalue the Father's name, which is in Shemayim, and don't devalue your father's name. Now I want to speak directly to daughters that's still in-house. Don't devalue your father's name, the name of your house that you represent. Don't let little flirtatious boys, flirtatious men, whoever it may be trying to talk to you. Everything is supposed to run through your Abba. Nobody should be trying to approach or talk to you if they're not talking to your Abba, because they have to be vetted, they have to be approved, and actually they have to be sent for. Read on it, Dawn.
She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life.
That's what Eleazar could tell about Rivkah. She's going to do him good all the days of his life, just because of what Yah has already revealed to me through her, what she's already done for me. Again, let's put this thing in the picture form. She's out drawing water, giving him water, and giving all the camels and livestock with him water. That's a lot of work. That's a virtuous woman. Most women be like, I ain't got time for that. She did all of that. That is the reason why I praise the Most High also. My cousin across the street, who I used to think was my aunt, she always says she thanks God for my wife. She said, you got a good woman. She said, many women would have left you to go through what you was going through with your mother and your father, for that to be y'all marriage and that to be your whole life. Women, the women of the day wouldn't stay with you. That is a good woman that you have, because she was with you through all that. And she tells it to her face, and I thank God for you, for him. Praise be to the Most High. She would do him good all the days of his life. Your actions will define who you are. What you do, what you say, how you act. Read on.
She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands.
So she ain't lazy. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. Read.
She is like the merchant ships. She bringeth her food from afar.
So when people talk about this virtuous woman, I don't know what they think of those virtuous things look like. It's telling you what she's doing. She's a hard-working woman. She's doing something productive. She's making sure her house is good. She's making sure they're clothed, they're fed. Read.
She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens.
She rises also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. Read.
She considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hands, she plants a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goes not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the staff. She stretches out her hands to the poor. Yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet.
Okay, let's pause it for a second. So we're seeing all these attributes. She goes and she perceives that her merchandise is good. Her candles goeth not out by night. She's always doing something. She rises up when it's still yet dark. She provides for her household and her maidens. She stretches out her hand to the poor. Yes, she reaches forth her hands to the needy. So even though Eleazar was not poor, she still extended her hand to him who was in need of drink, and also gave his camels. She was a virtuous woman. There are certain attributes that define what a virtuous woman look like. And in these churches, it's all about the dress and the sassiness and what a man got to do for them, not about what they have to do for Yah. How they got to look like to fit the bill that Yah has written. Read on, Dom.
She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates, when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but you excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman that fears Yah, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates.
Now, I'm only coming from the word of the Most High. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth Yah, she is to be praised. You praise a woman that fears Yah above all. I don't care how good a woman look. I don't care how good a woman cook. I don't care about any of the other attributes. A woman that fears Yah shall be praised, shall be esteemed. She opened her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. So, my sisters, work on what comes out of your mouth, because there are a lot of virtuous attributes, but start making sure that we have all of them. Open our mouths with wisdom, with virtue, and have the tongue of the law of kindness, of the Torah of kindness, come out of your mouth. Speak life. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and even not the bread of idleness. She's never idle. She's always looking out for her house. Her children arise and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praiseth her. So this is what Rivkah was. Rivkah was a virtuous woman. Going back to Iman Newkirk's opening statement, when she said about what she got out of the text, she was in the right place at the right time. That's why she was blessed, because she was doing the right thing in the right place at the right time, doing what the daughters of the men of the city do by doing her duties and her chores for her household, taking care of the house as a daughter, as a sister, as one that's still in home before being given. So if she knows how to take care of her father's house and the house of her family, she should also know how to do what? Take care of her husband's house. So if she's not trained up, she's not going to want to take care of house. But if she is trained up, she will know how to take care of house, and she will delight in it, because she will understand that's what virtuous women do. And now what we as men have to learn to do, every virtuous attribute that your wife shows, give her praise, because it says her children shall esteem her and her husband shall praise her. Not that she got to be walking around looking for praise. She just got to do what she do. But husband, it's our duties to esteem our wives. So I praise the Most High for my Isha, who he blessed me with, who came into my life in some very trying times, that comforted me during my mother's death, during my Abba's death, during my mother and father's life when they were sick, going through, declining, and that's all our life has been. I praise the Most High for that. I praise the Most High that when I'm asleep, my Isha is up making sure the Yaladim get on the bus. Make sure I'm up on time from work. She's getting up in the middle of the night, going back down. My clothes get dry that I have to wear to work when I forget to put them in the dryer, because my work clothes, they're not in the dryer, and I wake up in there dry because she got back up out of the bed to dry them. This is what we have to look for in the scriptures, and we're to praise them. This is not me boasting. This is me trying to set an example out of the word of Yah before the children of Yah, the men and women of Yah, so that men and women alike would know what we need to be doing in our house. And as I learn and as I make growth in me, I want to share it amongst the Mishpachah, because the word of Yah is for all of us. Husbands, esteem and praise your wives. Wives, submit to your husbands as unto the master. Be virtuous. Make sure the law of kindness is coming out of your mouth. Make sure your attributes are virtuous, not complaining about what the man or man isn't doing, but doing what you can do to make sure the house is told miyod, very good. Husbands, love your wives as Messiah loved the ecclesia, the assembly, commonly called the church, and gave his life for it, and sanctified it and made it acceptable unto himself. And with that, I pray and I hope everyone got some wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. This was the word of Yah and the word of Yah only for the children of Yah. No additives, no preservatives, just Yah's word for the children of Yah. And to Yah be all the honor and all the esteem. With that, I say Selah, all praise, honor, esteem to the Most High Yah. Thank everyone for your words that you've shared tonight that have made this discussion a delight. And before we close, I'm going to open the floor again. I know it's a little late, but sometimes you got to just eat this word. So I now open the floor to the imams and elders. And after the imams and elders, any brothers and sisters that may have anything to share while we stay on for a few more moments, I open the floor.
Shabbat Shalom. I just like to say it was a total study and I enjoyed the input from everyone. And I also want to say that we see the role that Abraham's servant played in selecting or choosing a mate for Isaac. And even though Rebecca was considered by her family, her doesn't mention that Yishak was consulted, had any involvement in the process, what have you. And I know this probably seems far-fetched from us today because things have been so far removed from us. We're so far away from this word. But I know of a family that's in this walk and they have a daughter, and their plans are to select their daughter's mate. As a matter of fact, from time to time, they question other families about their sons or what have you. And they have said that their daughter will make the final decision. They won't do it without consulting her or what have you. But it's wonderful to see that we're returning back to the path of old, or the ancient path. So this was such a total study.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Thank you for your words that you shared, Iman. All the words that you shared tonight from the beginning to the closing. Hallelujah.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. The Tov lesson. And it's all about returning to our culture. Tov lesson.
Hallelujah. Praise, honor, esteem to the Most High. Iman Shoshana.
Shabbat Shalom, totally superb, edifying lesson. And I loved how you summed it up with Proverbs, pointing out just how we're supposed to be as women, as young ladies, and as women growing up in the culture and under Torah. And also as the Ishas are to acknowledge their Ishas, also the Ishas should also thank the Father and let the men, let their Ish know how well they're doing at their job as an Ish, as a provider, as a covering to them. So, Tov lesson. I yield.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. All praise, honor, esteem to the Most High for your words, Iman. And thank you, Abba Yah, for the balance of imams as well. They are elders, but for the imams as well, because a lot of times we cover things from one perspective, but you brought the other perspective in, and that's what the elder woman is supposed to do. So you just fulfilled that by saying not only are the husbands supposed to do so, but the wives alike. So Todah for sharing that, Iman. Todah for sharing that. Hallelujah. Zakane, Yaquab, I seen your hand up.
Todah Moreh. I know Adon Malakia doesn't have his hand raise feature. I'll yield if he wants to go.
Yeah, Adon Malak, we know you don't have the hand raise feature, so if you have any more words, Adon.
Kane, real quick, just to sum up, like this whole thing is just based on following Hamashiach and how he loved the assemblies. If you just sum it up, what did he do? He sacrificed and he worked and toiled so that the Isha, the betrothed, can do what? So she or us can work and be effective and sacrifice. All of this is to be a chad in building the house. In the case of Hamashiach, building the house of Yah, that's our case too. But in the physical, what we learn from it is building our houses here in the physical. That's why we take on the Isha to help build. So you work together equally to help each other to be better, to work and to build and to sacrifice for the greater good of the building of the house. So with that, I yield.
Hallelujah. I told her for that, Adon. I hope everyone heard the wisdom that was just imparted. And also I love the statement that he made about the Mashiach and what the Mashiach done for us and to make it where we can do our work. So also understand that in the physical sense, physical as well as spiritual sense, husbands, to make it possible for your Isha to do her part as an Isha. So because Mashiach made it possible for us to be able to do our part. So that was wisdom, Adon. Told her for sharing that. Zakeem, before I yield the floor to you, I want to make one statement because I just want to make this statement because we was reading also about the husband will be known in the gates behind the virtue of a woman and things like that. This is just words of encouragement. And I want to give words of encouragement. And please, when giving words of encouragement, we may not be able to encourage everyone in one night, but I would like to give this word of encouragement just because Bat Zion and Yamin, or should I say Yamin and Bat Zion, y'all house brings a delight to this Knesset. And we praise the Most High for you all. Y'all a young couple married in this walk, and y'all embrace this walk, and you're walking in, Yamin, you weren't churched at all. And you came in and you just wanting to do what's right in the sight of Yah. And just hearing y'all work together and grow together is beautiful. But I just want to go back to what it said. The husband will be known in the gates of the elders, right? So, and also about the price of a daughter and the value she brings to a house. And I want my Bat to hear and understand this. That's why I love her dearly. But Bat Zion brings honor to her father's house. She brings honor to her Isha's house. And Bat Zion, just to let you know that the elder women, as well as the younger women, just this past Shabbat was having a whole conversation about you. Everybody just loves you, Bat Zion, for what you're bringing to this Knesset, for what you are showing, your willingness to serve the Most High. And they love when you speak. They hear that you're hearing what's on the word, like you're not just reading it, like you love this word, and they just love your points when you bring them forward. Stuff that you said last Shabbat resonated with a lot of people and made them think about some things even more internally. So we praise y'all for both of you. May the Most High continue to increase in y'all lives. But I want to share that because this is the visual that the lesson that Malak was teaching years ago about what a marriage is supposed to look like. It's supposed to represent Yah. And y'all are doing a good job, and may the Most High continue increasing y'all and keep y'all shielded from Satan or Shaitan. And may y'all continue to grow in Yah and to be a light unto true light, as well as the rest of the world, because y'all are bringing encouragement to old and young. And your husband's name is known amongst the elders as Zakeem Yaquab. We don't have worldly pride, but I'm honored to know that you have such a joy and such a daughter and a son-in-law. So praise y'all. Keep them encouraged. May the Mishpachah keep them encouraged, and y'all stay encouraged in y'all. Hallelujah. Zakeem, and I yield the floor to you.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Toda Moreh for those words. All praises to the Most High. And I tell them all the time, man, I'm so proud of them. They're following the Torah and to keep it up no matter what we go through, no matter what they go through. Stay strong, because they even to me, they're a light, like you said, Moreh. So Toda Rabah for the words. All praises to the Most High. What I was gonna say is I like the way it was presented tonight by you, Moreh. All praises to the Most High and Ruach. That this is how culture is functional. You know what I mean? And I just want to point out too, this was before Israel. But I mean, if we really pay attention to it, what Israel is just swore to uphold all these things that we're seeing in Genesis. We just, the Most High just said, okay, I'm gonna separate y'all to be a light for me as a nation. But really, we just swore to all these laws, statutes, and commandments that were pretty much in effect, already. Israel just swore to it, and we can see how functional, how holy, how righteous this culture is, and it was very vivid to me tonight as you went through these scriptures, and how you punctuated it with Proverbs. Hallelujah, hallelujah, and then all the input from everybody that made their input. All praises to the Most High. To me, it just, and y'all know me about culture. That's my thing, man. But I can see very clearly how the culture, our culture that the Most High blessed us with, is functional. It's functional, and if we operate inside this culture, then the rest of the world will just follow along too. And then the purpose of the Most High is fulfilled, that his creation is functional and serves and praises him. Hallelujah. I like the way this message came out tonight.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Told up for your words, okay. And yes, sir, we know you the cultural man, so praise the Most High. We looking forward to the cultural portion from you in the mornings, okay. So we ready. So all praise be to the Most High. But thank you for your words of wisdom, all that you share from the opening and closing, as well as your words of encouragement, okay. Total Rabbah. All right. Does anyone else have any words before we get ready to close out for the night? I know we went over time, but hey, man, we're getting a buffet style tonight. All praise to the Most High. Shah Shamar, yes, sir, Akid.
Yeah, total blessing. All praise to the Most High, for allowing you to bring the lesson up for about the brothers and sisters.
Shah, you really muffled, Adon.
You hear me now?
Much better, much better. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I took the Bluetooth off. Yeah, I just wanted to say, all praise to the Most High Yah, for allowing you to bring out the lesson, told her about for the reading also. Also told her about to all the brothers and sisters that brought the points, I just want to give praise to the Most High, for another Shabbat day, I just like, the everything that was brought in the lesson, we talk about the marriages, the culture of it, we also talk about, the importance of, having a close relationship to the Most High, communicating with the Most High, even asking for signs and doing all those things, so I hope, we all, myself included, can remember this lesson, hope we can take everything that was said in our hearts and hope it will never depart. I'm looking forward to, taking the information that I learned, today, for my life, as long as the Most High, let me live. I yield.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. May the Most High continue to increase in you, Adon. May he continue to increase in you, and you continue to grow in him. Hallelujah. But yet, Francis, the floor is yours.
Moreh. First of all, I just want to say all praises to Abba. Just want to give him all honor and esteem. For your kind words, Moreh, I just want to say total about Abba for placing those words upon you. We are just trying to please the Most High by following his word, law, statute, commandment, and trying to be an example, as he's a example to us, the light to our feet, so we won't stumble or fall back into darkness. So I want to say thank you for your kind words, and may the Most High bless you and your family and everyone on this call. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, and total for the blessing, Adon, total for the blessing. All praises, all praises. All right, hallelujah. Beautiful Shabbat, hallelujah. All right, does anyone else have any words before we get ready to do the closing tefillah? All right, praise be to the Most High. Praise the Most High for everyone that shared your comments. Praise Yah for all the testimonies that have go forward, or the praise reports earlier. So praise Yah for his goodness and his mercy and all his many barakah with blessings. I now yield the floor to Sar Yohanan for the closing tefillah.
Hey, shalom, shalom. I could be heard more.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's clear our minds. Oh, Heavenly Father, Yahuwah Zawaro, our King, our salvation, our power, the love of our life, protector of all of your children. We want to say Toda Yah for another coming into your Shabbat as we getting ready to get to rest. Toda Yah for getting us through the week. It's either it might have been a tough week for some of your children, Abba, and it might not have been a tough week for some of your children, Abba. But we all have one thing in common, Abba. We was all able to bring it into Shabbat, Abba. With all 10 fingers, with all 10 toes, with the bread of life, Abba. Just calling out to you, Abba, to let you know that we appreciate the things that you do for us, the things that you provide for us. We appreciate that, Abba. We're asking you to continue lifting us up, Abba. Continue building us up, Abba. Continue showing us to get to the righteous path, Abba. And continue opening the eyes of your children that still asleep, Abba, that they come back to you. Abba, your children is trying to do right by you. The ones that are trying to keep your Shabbat. The ones that are trying to keep your feast days. The ones that are trying to keep your Torah, your set apart commands. We might not doing it the way our ancestors did it. We might not doing it on the right calendar that our ancestors did it, Abba. But you know, deep and down our hearts, Abba, we wanted to do right by you, Abba. So Toda Yah, Abba, for not judging us on these different calendars, Abba. That you know that we are trying to keep your Shabbat, Abba. As you stated, Abba, as you created the heaven, the earth, the sea, and everything within 6 days, Abba. It ceased on the 7th day, Abba. As you had called the 7th day is your Shabbat, Abba. A day of rest, a delight, a covenant between us and you, Abba. We want to say Toda Yah for the Shabbat. It's the ones that are still working, Abba. We appreciate a day of rest. Because of this physical form that you gave us, this body that you gave us, Abba. You knew that it's going to need rest. So Toda Yah for that rest. Toda Yah for your leaders, Abba, that take the time out of their daily life, Abba, to teach your word, Abba, teach your Torah, teach the ways how to walk in the character of you, Abba, teaching us how to love one another, Abba, because we might not be blood brothers and sisters, Abba, but we are brothers and sisters through you, Abba. So we are the children of the Most High. The firstborn children of the Most High. The one he said, I love more than any other nation. So let your children from the four corners of earth not take that for granted, Abba, that you chose us. Abba, I stand again and speak for everybody on this line, Abba. Because I know we all in one accord that we love you, Abba. That you are our Abba. You are our Father. You are our protector. We trust in you and you alone, Abba. We acknowledge everything that you do for us, Abba. Even the things we might not see. We know that you are there, Abba, watching over us. As you got the watchmen watching over us, Abba. Toda Yah. Toda Yah. Toda Yah. May Yahuwah bless you and keep you. May Yahuwah make his face shine for you, be gracious unto you. And may Yahuwah lift up your confidence and give you shalom. Blessed be you, Yahuwah our Elohim. Blessed be the name of Yahuwah our Elohim. And blessed who come in the name of Yahuwah Elohim. And everybody line say hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Yeah, hallelujah. Told her for the prayer, Dome.
Hallelujah.
My brothers and sisters,
Hallelujah.
imams and elders, enjoy the fellowship. Shabbat shalom. Get you some rest. Look forward to in the morning. May the Most High watch over, bless, and keep you all. Hallelujah. Shabbat shalom. Laila Tov.
Shabbat shalom. Lila Tov.
Shabbat shalom.
Lila Tov, Shabbat
Lila
Shalom.
Tov. How are you all?
Shabbat shalom. Lila Tov.